Hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this week's car boot sale haul video. Now I was on a cruise for 2 weeks, but you guys have not had a miss in your uploads because I went to extra car boot sales before I went. Wasn't that kind of me? Did you see I put myself out? So I got back off my cruise last Sunday, but too late for the car boot sale. So this is my first car boot sale since I've been back. And I still didn't really need to be buying much. But I've made some big money purchases today. Big money for me. I realise a lot of you guys out there go to the car boot sales and think nothing of dropping 50, 60 quid on an item, but I'm the 50p lady. I'm not pound girl, that's Cheryl, but I'm the 50p lady. So the fact that I have spent with one person £30 and with another person £10 and with another person £15, that's big for me. I've been flashing the cash like nobody's business. So let me show you some of what I've got. First up then, from Steve. Steve had to save my bacon this morning because I had planned to go to the cash point on the way to the car boot sale, and then Anthony said he'd drive, and in the kerfuffle of getting in his car instead of mine, I forgot that we were going to the cash point. So I got to the car boot, so I didn't have any money, but Steve, the car boot guy, very kindly gave me some cash and I PayPal'd it to him. So thank you for that, Steve. I know he watches occasionally. And from Steve's stall I got a very small filler bag, so there's a money tin in there which will be useful for saving for holidays, and also in my filler bag a Bop-It. I don't think I've had this one before. I've had many Bop-Its. It's got very sticky handles, but I've got some sticky stuff cleaner upper, so we'll have to go with that. Only one handle is sticky. I don't even want to think about why. So yeah, I don't think I've had that one before. Filler bag, as just to, I always remind guys in case there's somebody watching who hasn't seen it before, filler bag costs £3. You can put as much in as you want. I didn't put very much in mine today. I've got an Edward Monkton, a lovely love story mug. It says the fierce dinosaur was trapped inside his cage of ice until the lovely other dinosaur came and melted it with kind thoughts and loving words. Now they stand together on the hill telling each other stories and feeling the warmth of the sun on their backs. The end. Isn't that a lovely dinosaur love story? And then another mug, just a Monopoly Go mug. Fairly muggy day. Not quite as muggy as some days, but fairly muggy. There was a little ball in here, but it was for Bella and she's already gone off with it. A tiny squishmallow. This one is called Stump, I think it's called. Yep, Stump. A Stump squishmallow. A Mothercare comforter. I need to have a really big sale on my comforters and clear a lot of them out. I've got some that aren't shifting, so they need to go. This is my mild disappointment because I really like this, but I've realised I should have 6 bits and I've only got 5. It's a sectioned dish with various different bits printed on it, and the 6 together would make a circle, but I've only got 5. I don't know if the 6th one was there and I missed it, or whether it wasn't there in the first place. I do not know. It's only a Krumiller by Sanyo Toki China made, so I don't think it's necessarily worth anything. But I liked it, and I've only got 5 bits, so that's disappointing. However, I could go back next week, rummage in the bag and find the other bit, you never know. Couple of knobs, because you can never have enough knobs. These are actually, we're going to try these on our door and see if they're better than what we currently have. So, and if not, then there's a nice pair of brass knobbage. I'll put those over there for Anthony to mess with. Anthony can mess with the knobs later. And some feather and down pillow spray. That's it in my filler bag, so that was £3. The bag itself was included as well, but that's probably just going to go to the charity shop. That was £3. And then also from Steve, 2 big Starbucks mugs. England with Shakespeare on, and just a plain Starbucks Grande one. They were £2 each. In other muggage, I paid £1 for this Disney store, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet in the Snow. I paid 50p for Dunoon William Morris Strawberry Thief. It won't focus on the mug because it's either Trying My Face or Mary Berry's in the background. And then these 2 were £1 each. That's 101 Dalmatians Disney mug. And this one, which I bought because it reminded me very much of one of you. One of you viewers is called Dawn, and her Facebook name is Dawn Dog Person. And this one says on it Dog Person, so there you go. It reminded me of you, Dawn. Give me a shout if you think it also is reminiscent for you. A 50p Harry Potter hammer kit. It is, I think it's Harry himself, isn't it? Yeah. Funny, when you look at it from a distance you can see what it is, but close up it looks like nothing on her. That's for Lexi. Natalie said she thought Lexi would like that. £3 for a pair of Uggs Zoe, I think they are. I think they're Zoe sandals. Fairly sure they're Zoe. They have a zip at the back. a 2-inch wedge heel. They're very, very soft, and they're blue, they're navy blue suede. I don't know if you can see the colour properly on screen, but they're navy blue suede. Don't know what size they are. UK 5. They're a UK 5. Paid £2 for the Lord of the Rings cassette collection. I have bought and sold this multiple times over my reselling career. Many, many times I've bought and sold this item. So it doesn't go for a huge amount. It goes for between 10 and 15 quid, but I paid £2 for it. And I paid £2 for this pack of tarot cards. The original 80 weight tarot deck. The original edition of the famous 78 card tarot deck designed by Pamela Coleman Smith under the direction of Arthur Edward Waite. So I'd have to count them, make sure they're all there. Usually when I buy tarot cards they're all there. I don't think I've had any missing yet. And the little thread is starting to work its way out, so I shall have to sit there and patiently feed that back in as well, of the bag. And then the rest are my 3 larger money purchases. So I paid £15 for these 3 books. And they are The Element Encyclopedia of Magical Creatures. That was John and Caitlin Matthews. I thought they were all Judica Ills, but that was John and Caitlin Matthews. Oh, there's a cheque inside. Somebody's used a cheque as a bookmark, right? It is Tesco PLC for HSBC Bank. It is payable to Mr. Lindsay S. Powell, but I don't think he's going to be losing any sleep over it because it is for the princely sum of 7 pence. 7 pence, Mr. Powell. It's from 9th of December 2005. If you had banked this cheque, you might have gained interest and have as much as possibly 8 pence by now. But there you go. He obviously did not think it was worth banking his 7p cheque. So yeah, I've got the The Element Encyclopedia of Magical Creatures, which has all sorts of interesting stuff in it. Coco. In Peruvian mythology, Coco is the cat god. He is of diminutive size, being only 2 foot long with a tail twice that length. He is striped all over and from his eyes pours continual hail. He sounds cheerful to be around, doesn't he? Conopeni. In Persian legend, the Conopeni were huge ass-headed horses who breathed fire from their mouths and nostrils. Kashche. A variant name for the dragon Koschei the Deathless in Russian folklore and tradition. Quite an interesting, very heavy book. Really heavy. To look so far down my nose to be able to see in these glasses these days. And then I've also got The Element Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells. This is Judica Ills or Isles. Ills, I think it is. So this has 5,000 spells in it, apparently. Oh Lord, it does as well. Interesting. Very interesting. And then the third one is The Element Encyclopedia of Witchcraft. Also Judica Ills or Isles. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Which, yeah. Interesting books. Interesting books. And I thought somebody might be interested in those. So they were 15 quid for the 3. They're very heavy. They cost a lot of money to post though as well. And then I've got a bundle here of stuff that cost me £10. All from one house clearance guy. So we start with this, which is a tweed throw by Tweed Mill. British made, exclusive. Smells very cupboardy. Cupboardy, it's a word. That alone pays for the tenner and a few bits and a few bit on top. That should be, I think, 30 to 40 quid, that one, hopefully. And then 2 little Christmas napkins, which I picked up because they were bundled together with these other Christmas napkins, vintage Christmas napkins. So remember, 10 quid for all of this. An embroidered tray cloth or antimacassar, possibly an antimacassar because of the length of it and the fact that the embroidery is on the bottom. So an antimacassar goes on the back of a chair, and it used to stop men who wore hair cream. Men used to wear Brill cream, whatever, in their hair. So ladies would put antimacassars over the back of the chair to stop men's hair cream from staining the furniture. Why did I buy it? Because it is hand embroidered, and because I'm hoping to send it to a lady who I follow on Instagram. Parrot and Parsnip, as she's called, or Parsnip and Parrot, I'm not sure which round it is. Anyway, she uses vintage embroideries and cross stitches to make the most fabulous bags, so I thought I might send it to her and see what she can do with it. So I thought I'd throw that in. And then also I've got from the Tartan Blanket Company, I would say this is a scarf, not a blanket, because it's got a fringed edge and it's very narrow. But it is brand new with its tags, and it's 100% lamb's wool, designed in Scotland apparently. Which would be why it's tartan, wouldn't it? So that was quite nice, I thought. So I said this is all in for a tenner at this point. 2 Oleg Cassini crystal cut glass perfume bottles. maybe a tenner each if I'm lucky. Not a huge amount on those. Oleg Cassini stuff can go for good money, but these are not very exciting, so probably a tenner each on those. And then still in that tenner, so we're still in the original tenner, I got a set of 6 of the Beacon Infant Readers. So I've got books 1 through 6. Somebody has sold a set of 8, which seems to be books 1 through 6 and 2 other separate Beacon books, and they've sold that for 45 quid. So here is the ragman. He has an old horse. See his tin pans. He has come for the rags. Oh, John, what fun. Run up to mother. Mother, mother, the ragman is here. He has a big bag. He has tin pans. Once you get up to the book 6, it's a bit more. That night the young man was placed in a room near the hall where the maidens slept, and a door was left open so they could follow them if they should go away to dance. Stop bloody following maidens when they go away to dance. They don't like it. But yeah, so a set of 6 of those Beacon early readers, and it's quite interesting watching the progression. And then also a vintage copy of Basil Brush at the Seaside, which is an Edmund Ward starting to read book, written and illustrated by Peter Firmin. Basil and Harry drove to the seaside in their car. They took the bucket and spade, they took the fishing net and the boat. It's a big car. Harry was happy. He sang a digging song as they drove along. Must not dig in the garden, must not dig on the land. I'm not big, but I may dig at the seaside in the sand. Oh, it's because he's a mole and he's not allowed to dig in the garden. He got told off. Oh, look at that. He made holes in the field, which made the farmer angry. He made holes in the garden, which made the gardener angry. He even made holes in the golf course, and the golfers were very angry. Poor Harry the mole. Anyway, he's gone to the seaside with Basil, so that's all right. I'll start feeling sad for him now. And then, still in that tenner, this box, which to me is the most interesting of all the things I bought today. It's probably not the most money of all the things I bought today, but it's the most interesting because it's full of old letters and ephemera from one person from the ephemera, I'm not sure which. One person from around the 1930s. So it's a Mr. Gardner, and we've got his unemployment book, 1834 and 1935. Now, he served in the forces, because I've got his discharge paper here from the forces. I've got the reference that his commanding officer gave him when he left the army. I think these are his national insurance stamps, aren't they? Each stamp was 1 shilling and 8p. Hand the book to your employer as soon as you obtain an employment. When your employment is terminated, obtain the book from your employer. Look carefully to see that it is your own and make sure that it is correctly stamped. So this is what you handed it. When you're employed, this is basically what is your national insurance these days. And you handed this in and your employer put your stamp in every week. And that's why they use the term now, isn't it? You've got to pay your stamp. There we go. There is a cutting from the East Kent Times. And the headline is Dashed to Death, Manston Air Crash Inquest. Now I don't know, I can't see any mention of Mr. Gardner in this, so I don't know why he felt he had to keep that cutting, but he must have had a reason. He must have been connected in some way. And then, like I said, somewhere here I've got, what's this one? Records and Residential Pay Office, Shrewsbury, 1st of April 1935. Mrs. Gardner, 9 Battlefield Road, Sentinel Gardens, Shrewsbury. Dear Mrs. Gardner, I very much regret the facts which compel me to take the steps indicated in the attached letter to your husband, but the regulations on the subject permit of no other course. I sincerely hope that your husband will get well again and be restored to his former cheerful self. On behalf of all the staff here, may I offer you our sincere best wishes for the future. Yours sincerely, Squiggle, for Officer in Record at Pay Office. And the attached letter says, is addressed to Mr. Gardner. It says, Dear Sir, consequent upon the receipt from your medical advisor, Dr. Westwood, this morning of a statement dated 30th of the 3rd, 35, which was my father's date of birth, funnily enough, that you will not be able to resume duty in the Record and Pay Office. I regret to have to inform you that your services will be dispensed with and that you are accordingly discharged with effect from today, 1/4/35, in accordance with paragraph 202. So basically he was deemed unfit for work and discharged on those grounds, basically. So there's your letter on His Majesty's service. I wonder why he was deemed unfit for work. It doesn't say, does it? We've got an empty envelope from the Beehive Warehouse Company, but then later on there's an invoice from the Beehive Warehouse Company for supplying a suite of furniture. We have got his discharge letter, which is all full of shall be and ifs and buts. Somewhere in here, there we go, personal references and birth certificate of William Norman Gardner. There's no birth certificate in there, but there is his reference from when he was discharged in 1930. So I think he must have rejoined. It says, to whom it may concern, this is to certify that number 355096, Corporal W.N. Gardner, served under my command from the May the 1st, 1928 to February 26, 1930. During that period, the Royal Air Force were taking over the command of Aden from the Army. Corporal Gardner was for some time the only RAF clerk in the headquarters, British forces, and had to deal with subjects under RAF, Army and Indian regulations, the two latter being entirely new to him. He dealt with everything given to him in a manner which proves that his powers of organisation and administration are far above the average. He has a very fair knowledge of accounts, is sober, scrupulously honest, and very good at sports. I understand he is leaving the service shortly with a view to marriage and a post in civil life, and the service will lose the work of a very valuable non-commissioned officer. So there you go. He left the RAF, he got married to Mrs. Gardner, because we know there was a Mrs. Gardner, we saw a letter, and then at some point he rejoined the forces, and then had to be discharged due to being unwell and unfit for work because of being unwell. There's a letter here which was addressed to Mr. and Mrs. W. Gardner. Dear Phyllis and Bill, look at the writing, look at the beautiful writing. We don't have handwriting like this these days. Just to wish you both very much happiness and luck in your married life and all through the years. So we got married at the end of the year. We thank you very much for your cake and card. It is a very pretty one. The weather is very, very bad here. Rain all the time. Hope you had it decent on Saturday. So they must have got married on Saturday. This was dated Wednesday, December the 31st. They must have got married on the Saturday and sent a piece of cake and a little greetings card to these people. Wait till you hear who it is. Just past best wishes for New Year to all your people. Also Dan and family from us all. Best love. E and J Fareham, mother and dad. So they got married without Phyllis's parents there. That must be Phyllis's parents. And they sent a little card. Look, this is a beautiful little card. Lots of happiness for you. New Year's greetings from all at 7 and 12 Franchise Street. I think it's really interesting to have this little peek into somebody's past. In an ideal world, you'd be able to find the descendants, wouldn't you, and hand this back. But this is a house clearance, so presumably the descendants have had the opportunity to own these things and decided they didn't want to. There's his receipt from the Beehive Warehouse. We thank you for your letter of the 7th inst, including money order to the value of £10, 2 and 9pence, and have pleasure in herewith enclosing receipt for same. We note your remarks re the suite you have decided on, and we'll dispatch it to you early next week. We'll let you know later the exact date the goods will be on the way. So he's got a suite of furniture coming for £10, 2 and 9pence. There's lots of different things in here, lots of really interesting little bits. Profit and Westwood, corn and seed merchants and forage contractors. This is to certify that Mr. W. Gardner has been in our employment nearly 2 years, always been industrious, steady, obliging and honest. Doesn't he sound from his references and from his army stuff that he was a jolly good chap one way round or another? I think it's a really interesting box of stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. There's a rent book in here. I had a quick look through this rent book earlier on. His rent, when he took the property over on March the 28th, 1931, his rent was 15 shillings and then his electric light and his water was 6 shillings each. Yes, so the total was 16 shillings altogether. And it stayed that way until June the 3rd, 1933. So in over 2 years, he had no rent increases and no increases in his bills or his electrical water. 16 shillings. It's a little bit more than that now, isn't it? Everything's a little bit more than that now. So, like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I've had great fun looking through it. And yeah, he sounds like a jolly solid chap, doesn't he, Mr. Gardner? Well done, that man. And then I have got a large box of stuff. I'm going to try and turn the camera so you can see, because I can't possibly pick up the whole box. There it is. Excuse my unmade bed. I should have made my bed. Always make your bed, children. That is a massive box of 24 folio books. Now, I have bought folio books many, many times over the years that I've been reselling, and some sell better than others. Some will always sell better than others. If you can find the Lord of the Rings set or the Coloured Fairy books by Andrew Lang, you're laughing because they go for huge amounts of money. They're not in this box, sadly. But first out the box is Alexander Dumas Count of Monte Cristo, and that sells for between £50 and £60. I paid £30 for the lot. Anthony was not overjoyed. He had to lug them back to the car. But I was very, very pleased with them. And I think 30 quid for this lot is an absolute bargain. So, like I said, some of them will go for £10 to £15. Some of them will go for a bit more. I would doubt very much whether there's anything in it that won't go for at least £6 or £7, although I have had folio editions before that just didn't shift. But I haven't had any folio books in for a long, long time. The first time that Caroline, Mrs. M and I met up, sorry, they're very dusty and they've made my nose itch. We went to Taunton charity shopping and I bought a load of folio books. So I've got Joseph Conrad, The Secret Agent, and also Joseph Conrad, Lord Jim. They might go on together as a pair. I've got Harriet Wilson's memoirs. What does Harriet Wilson put in her memoirs, I wonder? Lord Ponson often rated me about Lord F. Beauclerk, his relation, whom he always called Fred Diamond Eye, and Fred Beauclerk was constantly teasing me about Ponsonby. I assured him that all was nonsense. I've never read Harriet Wilson's memoirs before. Harriet Wilson's memoirs. What else have we got? We've got a very foxed copy of... Is it The Secret Garden? It looks like it might be The Secret Garden. Yes, The Secret Garden. Extremely foxed, sadly. It's a 1986 edition, and it has suffered from its storage. We've got To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. We've got Nostromo by Conrad again, so that's 3 Conrad books in there. Genghis Khan. What are you? The Wessex Tales by Thomas Hardy. What's this on the bottom? Chartres, The Making of a Miracle. And then I can see Love in a Cold Climate. I can see The Greengage Summer by Rumer Godden. There's lots. There's 24 in total. And as I said, the very first one out of the box is a £50 to £60 book. So they were definitely worth the investment. And I really should get on and do some listing. How many times have you heard me say that? If I got you guys to give £1 to charity every time I said, I've got too much stock, I don't need to buy anything, I should do some listing, we could raise a fortune, couldn't we? Thank you for joining me for this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've particularly enjoyed Mr. Gardner's box of little life in a box there. I've enjoyed that. I hope you guys have found it interesting as well. And as always, if there's anything that you would like to ask me about, then my email address is always in the description box. And I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.